You walk in a housing unit and an inmate is in the middle of the day room screaming. He's got a meal tray in his hand. He's pacing. Every officer on the tier is watching you. The question now is, what do you do? You know, a lot of officers will freeze in this moment, not because they're scared, but because nobody ever trains them for this moment. They train them for the textbook, not for the real thing. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kerry Randall with Beyond the Badge Inside the Bars. Today we're going to talk about de-escalation and use of force, and more specifically, how we need to fix scenario-based training so that when that moment hits, you already know what to do. I'm not going to lie. Most use of force incidents I've seen in my career did not have to happen. Not because the officer was wrong, but because the situation wasn't read correctly. And by the time things escalated, force was the only option left to do. That is where the training problem comes in. Scenario-based training is supposed to prepare you for a split-second decision, read the behaviors, using verbal commands, and managing distance and space. But if your scenarios are scripted, predictable, and boring, you are not training your brain for the real world. So here are 5 things we need to refine in scenario-based training to resolve conflict before it becomes a physical intervention. Tip number 1 is build scenarios around real triggers, not textbook situation. Number 1 thing is, the first thing we need to fix in scenario training is the scenarios themselves. Most academic runs the same 3 scenarios. Inmate refuses to cuff up, medical emergency, contraband fine. Those are fine, but in a real facility, conflict triggers are emotional. An inmate's just got a bad phone call. He just found out his mother died. Another inmate owes him from commissary. These are emotional triggers, and they do not announce themselves. Your training scenario needs to include social and emotional verbals, not just physical threats. When officers practice reading stress indicators in a realistic context, they build the instinct to de-escalate before the situation becomes a real use of force. Training for what is real. We'll go to tip number 2. Teach tone before you teach tactics. Number 2, your tone is your first line of defense. And most scenario training skips right past it. I have watched officers give a perfect lawful order and still get a physical response because how they said it lit the inmate up. There's a big difference between lockdown or lockdown now or, hey, I need you to go ahead and lock down for me. One escalates the situation and the other doesn't. In your scenario, have officers practice the same command in 3 different tones: authoritative, neutral, and de-escalating. Have the officer record it. Play it back. You will be amazed at what the officer hears when they listen to themselves. You know, tone is a skill. Train it like one. Hold on, before we get to the tip 3, I want you to think about the last time you had a use of force in your facility. Ask yourself, was there a moment before things escalated where a pause or a different tone or a different approach might have changed the outcome? Put a comment below, let me know. Think about that, because that is exactly what we are trying to fix with better training. Tip number 3 is practice the pause, create space before force. One of the most underused techniques in de-escalating is the deliberate pause. When you walk into a high-tense situation, the instinct's to act fast. That is a natural, but speed is the enemy of de-escalation. An intentional pause, even 3, maybe 5 seconds, gives the inmate's nervous system time to calm down. It gives you time to assess, gives you your backup time to get to position. In scenario training, build a pause in. Drill it. Tell officers before you issue any command, take 3 seconds. That pause has stopped more use of force incidents than any takedown technique I've ever seen. Tip number 4 is define a decision point when de-escalation ends. And this is the one most trained program misses completely. De-escalation does not mean you never use force. And I'm not saying don't use force. It means you exhaust every reasonable option before you use force. But most officers need to know exactly where that line is. You know where I'm getting at? What signals tells you an inmate has moved past verbal resolution and force is now necessary. In scenario training, name those indicators. What does pre-attack posture look like? What verbal clues tells you compliance is off the table? Train the officers to recognize the transition from de-escalation to force, because hesitance at that moment is just as dangerous as skipping de-escalation altogether. It's nothing personal, guys. It is all about protecting you and the inmate. And you are the most important thing. We want you to go home safe. Real quick, if you are getting value out of this, hit that like button. It helps us get the content in front of more officers who needs it. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out what's coming out next. If you got a topic you would like to talk about, put it in the comment below also, and we'll see about making a video on that too. We're going to jump down to number 5. The most valuable part of scenario training is not the scenario itself, it's the debrief. After every training scenario, sit there with an officer, sit down and ask 3 questions. What did you see? What did you decide? And what would you do differently? Do not just grade the physical response, grade the decision-making process also. That is where the real learning happens. Officers who can articulate their thinking under stress develops better instincts in the field. And when you build that debrief culture in training, it carries over to real incidents. It creates accountability without shame. That is how you build a smarter and safer team. Look, de-escalation is not soft policing, it's smart policing. Every time you resolve a solution without hands, you go home clean. The inmate goes back to a cell and your facility is not on the news or in the lawsuit the next morning. But it only works if the training actually prepares you for the real scenarios. Realistic triggers, tone practice, the deliberate pause, knowing your decision point in a debrief culture that builds better instincts over time. That is how you minimize use of forces. Not by telling officers to go back down, but by giving them a better tool to go forward. When routine replaces awareness, that is when you have a blind spot. These 5 fixes, close those gaps. And if you want some more tips like this, share and like and comment below. Drop a comment if you think we should make more videos about training tips. I want to know what you're thinking and what's happening at your facility and what training you feel like you are not getting. Put it below. I want to help you guys out. And don't forget the most important part, subscribe so you get more content like this. And like always, thank you for watching and God bless.